Tim Tebow is cut by the Jaguars. I think we could all have seen this coming. The only reason Tebow could have potentially made the roster is because of his name, the amount of jerseys he would sell, his connection to Urban Meyer. But if we were to just look at it from the football side, I think Tebow has been out of the game for too long. He didn't succeed as a quarterback. He played a little bit of tight end, or he ran some routes with the Jets, from what I remember. I remember specifically a play where Mark Sanchez threw a ball to Tim Tebow, and they kind of used him as a decoy most of the time when he lined up to catch a pass. But this time, it was a hot read. Mark Sanchez throws a pass and hits him square in the helmet. He doesn't even turn around. And the announcers were like, "Hey, if you're not just a decoy, turn your head around, look for the ball." So that's my first really memory I have with Tim Tebow and trying to catch some balls, trying to, be utilized as an all-around player, not just a quarterback. Kind of like Taysom Hill before Taysom Hill. But it didn't work out too well for him. He couldn't really get a spot in the NFL. He tried to do baseball. He was in the minors. Credit to him for, trying to do other stuff, pursuing his dreams. So I fought Tebow. I don't fault Tebow at all. So, that was all fun. It's all good for him. I was rooting for him if he had any sort of chance to make it in baseball. I was rooting for him. It was entertaining to see him do that. But once I thought that was it. I thought that meant that was the end of Tebow in the NFL. We knew that one of the main reasons he didn't stay in the NFL was because he was set on being a quarterback. He thought of himself as a quarterback. He wanted to make it in the NFL as a quarterback. People were telling him to do a precision change, and he didn't really like the idea. So we all could kind of tell that he was not an NFL quarterback. His motion was not there. He played with a lot of heart. He could run. He could get some yards, but as a quarterback, he left a lot to be desired, throwing with that unorthodox throwing motion with his left hand. So for him to be out of the NFL for so long and finally decide to make a position change at the age of 34, when he had been out of the NFL for so long. And Tebow, he's quick, he's agile, he could do a lot of stuff running, but he's not like the most athletic guy out there. He's not like a Lamar Jackson or like even like a Trey Lance or like a RG3. He's not one of these guys that could just blow past you. Even like I would say Josh Allen is a better athlete than him. Tim Tebow just played with a lot of heart, and he did the most of it in college, but in the NFL it's just a level probably too high for Tim Tebow for a quarterback, and to transition into tight end at the age of 34. I thought it was such a long shot for him. But the NFL is not just a sport. It's not just, you watching your favorite team, rooting for them week in and week out. It's also entertainment. It's the most watched show on TV. I know you don't like to call it a show, but it's entertaining. You tune in to get entertained, to be entertained for 3 hours. And Tim Tebow, if he can't really bring stuff in the field, he's at least entertaining. He adds to the show that the NFL is. He makes it, the NFL is not just the 3 hours that you watch your team on Sundays, on Thursdays, on Saturdays, sometimes on Mondays. It's the whole week. It's like a reality show. Like, we love the NFL. We tune into it the whole week. On Mondays, we'll see who gets cut, who did bad on the team. We talk about it the whole week. We like to analyze it. We get into the players' lives. They get arrested. Something happens to a player. We tune into all of that stuff, all the extracurricular stuff. We tune in. Someone gets married. Someone gets a kid. Someone's missing practice because of unfortunately one of their family members dies. We tune in. We know all this stuff. It's put out there. The broadcasters talk about it. The talk shows talk about it. The NFL is more than just the 3 hours that they play every week. It's a show. It's a reality show. It's a lot of stuff. So Tim Tebow being back in the NFL picture definitely adds to the show that the NFL is. So I like that. I like Tim Tebow coming back to the NFL in that sense. He gives you things to talk about. He's polarizing. He's such a character. He's such an enigma that you can't help but talk about Tim Tebow. He no matter what he does, is gonna get talked about. So this first week of the preseason, we finally got to see Tim Tebow play as a tight end, put the pads on, and give it a shot. And to be fair, he's 34. He's been out of the game. It's not easy to transition into a new position, especially at the the ripe age of 34 years old. And he went out there and he tried his best. I'm sure he tried his best. Tim Tebow always leaves it all on the field. He always gives it his best. But it just wasn't enough. You saw him miss a lot of blocks. You saw him whiff on a lot of blocks. And tight end is one of those positions where you could get others hurt if you don't do your job right. If you need a block, you need to, cover that edge rusher. You need to do a lot of stuff. It's an important position. And for Tim Tebow to miss a lot of blocks like that, to not, get his assignments right, it's tough. It was going to be an uphill battle, and there was a lot of backlash on Twitter. Even when he signed, everyone was saying he's taking a spot from other players. He's taking a spot from up-and-coming tight ends that are looking to, get their first shot at the NFL, make some NFL money. Unlike Tim Tebow, that's already well off. He's played in the NFL. He's made money in the NFL. He's been a broadcaster. He's been playing baseball. He's a well-known figure. He's going to be set for life. And some third stringer, some guy that, is trying to get his first contract, Tim Tebow is taking that spot. But we all know, not just the NFL, but the world is of connections. So Tim Tebow obviously has that connection with Urban Meyer. So I could see where people are coming saying that Tim Tebow took a spot from someone, but it is what it is. That's how the world works. I just wanted to see Tebow. I was happy that he was back in the NFL just because I said he's a whole show in of itself. And I was curious to see, I was one of those people that doubted it. I mean, I wasn't rooting against the guy. I just doubted that he could make it. Like, it was just so hard to do the thing he was trying to do, become a tight end at the age of 34 and just, have soft hands, be a good blocker, know how to run routes, know how to be a decoy. Like, tight ends, it's hard. You got to sell the block, go into your route late into the play. You got to do a lot of nuances. You got to know how to block, run schemes, passing schemes, audibles. There's a lot of stuff that you got to know, and it's just hard. And for Tebow, credit to him for trying, but I think we all, at the end of the day, in the bottom of our hearts, we all saw this coming. If he was going to make the roster, it was because, he knew Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer did him a solid. But regardless if he didn't make the team, I think Urban Meyer still did him a solid. Still, Tebow was probably chasing a feeling. He was chasing, a memory. He was chasing that feeling of being an NFL player, being part of a offseason, being part of a locker room, being part of, a group of guys with all, having a same goal, trying to help a team, trying to win a championship, trying to, we've all been part of teams, we've all played for some high school, middle school, little league, whatever. I'm pretty sure even your work, you're all a team. You all are, working towards a common goal. So I think for Tebow, it was just, he was missing that feeling of being part of a locker room, giving it a chance. He felt like tight end was a position that he had a chance to transition. We know about the NBA players or college basketball players that transition into the NFL. Gates is like the main one. When Antonio Gates played in the NFL, you would hear it like 4 times during the game. Oh, ex basketball player turned tight end. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. We've seen people transition into the NFL, and the NFL, it's one of those sports that you could find players playing different other sports, and you'll find a position for them in the NFL. Like, basketball players turn into tight ends. You see rugby players turn into running backs or defensive ends. So it's not out of the, it's not something crazy where someone hasn't played a position and they're just a physical specimen and you find a way to turn them into an NFL player. So, there was a slim chance that Tebow could have been like those other people that just transition sports and they're able to do it at the highest level in the NFL. But it just didn't work out. And now Tebow gets to probably go back into the broadcasting, go back into the booth, talk and College Game Day, be one of the better analysts out there. He talks with so much passion. I think that's his calling, being a commentator. He's really good at what he does when he commentates. So tip my hat to Tebow for trying. It doesn't hurt to try. It doesn't hurt to, hit up your contacts. I think we've all done it once or twice in our life where, we want to get a role, we want to get a position, and we look through our contacts and you're like, hey, I have a good connection with this guy. He's my old buddy. I'm going to hit him up, see if he could hook me up, get me a job, get me a position, at least get me an interview or something. That's what Tebow did with Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer did him solid. He probably didn't promise him a position. He just promised him a chance. And he played one game in the preseason. He did his best. It wasn't enough, but it is what it is. Good job, Tebow. I'm rooting for you. I hope you don't go away. I hope you don't go off into the sunset. And this is the end of Tebow. I'm pretty sure we'll hear you in ESPN Game Day or something like that. But shout out Tebow. It wasn't meant to be. And sorry to all the fans that bought a Tebow jersey. It was not long lived. He played one preseason game. So hopefully you're able to get a refund or you're able to change it for another jersey.